Chris Signatures. Hey, husband. Hello, Moville. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. How are you guys doing? Thanks, David. Thank you. Hey, Funke, welcome. Hi, everybody. It's so good to have you guys here, and I'm so excited. How's your Sunday going? How have you been since the last time we saw? For those of you that were on the live the last time, how is everybody doing? Hey, Mayako. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you guys here. Your presence is so encouraging. I'm so super duper excited. So I'm just using style to wait for some few people. Hello. Okay, so we're trying to use style to wait for people. Hi, Chini. Hey, Tosin. Okay. So, I trust that we're good. I trust that your Sunday is coming up great. It's good to see you too. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see you guys. It's good to see everyone. Thank you. I hope you can hear me because this is testing time. I hope everyone can hear me clearly so that we can ride. Right? I hope everybody can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Hi, Taiwo. Welcome. Wow, it's good to see everyone. Okay, so TikTok. Oh, you can hear me loud and clear. Perfect. Okay, great. So that's what I want to know. Hi, sister. My sister is here. Yay. Hello, sis. All right. What can I say? Okay, so great. Thank you guys for coming. Welcome. And I'm going to start right about now so that we can maximize the time that we have, because you know that this thing, boom, 1 hour, everything is all gone. So thank you everyone for joining. Welcome. My name is Ife. I'm your host for Ife Talks, and it's so good to see everyone. Thank you guys for joining again. Welcome. I mean, I wish I could greet everybody, but you know, and everything. My in-law, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Right? Okay. So, pin the topic. Okay. Husband, can you help me do that? Can you help me pin the topic? So that I'll just do it from here. Just help me type it and then I'll pin it from here. Okay, Uncle Mike, welcome. Yay, Uncle Mike is here. Extra hype for Uncle Mike. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic. We're starting now so that we can, move on. Today we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic, and this topic is very important to me because, it's something that, cuts across everybody. As long as you decide to get married, this topic is important, and it's overcoming struggles in the early years of marriage. And it's so exciting because, I realized that the journey of marriage is a very peculiar one, and usually we all get married for the first time, right? And when you're courting or when you're dating somebody, it's all very rosy, it's all very interesting, you're all excited about it, and then everything about the person just makes you feel so great, And today I saw something. When I was listening to Pastor Sam, right, he said something very profound, which we all know. The things that attract you to your spouse might be the same things that after a while begins to annoy you, right? So you meet a guy or you meet a girl and she's all chilled, and then the guy is the talker, and then, I like this guy, he's such a good communicator. Oh, I like this babe, she's so chilled. Because most of the time it's opposite, like they say, unlike charges attract. So two different people coming together, and then you're so excited about it. You know, you're attracted to the person's personality. After a while, as marriage steps in, those same things that got you attracted to the person can begin to annoy you. So for example, you know, you're married now, you know, and then you need your husband. Maybe your husband is very reserved, or maybe the wife is very reserved, and then you're asking the wife that we need to talk about this. That your wife is saying, you know what, I need to think about it. Give me like 1 week. Give me like a while, you know, and all that stuff. So give me a while. I want to process it. They're like, this babe, she's wasting too much time. I need us to make decisions sharp. You're wasting my time, you know. And then the same babe that you liked the way she was very calm, you liked her very chilled, you liked the fact that she was always composed, you never had issues with it, but now that you're married to her, you always have issues with the way she handles things. You know, different things begin to happen in marriage that brings friction. And I always say that issues in marriage are not really a big deal. Why? Because you're trying to know this person. You're getting married for the very first time. You have never been married before, right? So you're trying to understand this person's likes, you're trying to understand his dislikes, you know, you're trying to balance now. So it's okay, but the moment we begin to magnify these issues and then we begin to make them bigger than normal, that's what causes friction, that's what causes struggle, that's what makes it very difficult for couples. And that's why you see that some couples, you know, you ask them what exactly is the issue, and when they tell you the issue, you're like, are you for real? How is this supposed to be an issue? You know, one of my friends spoke to me like last week. You know, this one hit me, and then she was like that, I don't just like the way he sits down. When he sits down, he stretches his leg too much. It's just so annoying. I'm like, what? How is this an issue? Like, just tell him to sit down properly. Something that you can handle. You know, when I'm in the kitchen, I don't like it. Why is he always coming to meet me in the kitchen? I want to be alone when I'm in the kitchen. And then I'm like, that's not an issue now. These are things that we can sit down together and discuss, you know. But of course, like I was saying, different things, you know, cause issues, and then it becomes like a very major problem. Or for example, you know, habits. Should I start with habits? You know, your husband comes back for work, he removes his clothes and drops it on the floor, you know, and I'm like, why can't you just pick your clothes and put them in the laundry basket? It's so simple. Why must you put your clothes on the floor? So, you know, those basic things, it might look like it's funny, but those things can be really annoying, especially when it becomes a pattern. You do it today, you do it tomorrow. Stop dropping your clothes on the floor. Drop them in the laundry basket. You know, so those different things, it looks like it's not a big deal, but they become issues in marriage. Things that you overlooked when you were courting because of the euphoria of love. Oh, I love his smile. Oh, I love the way she talks. Oh, I'm so in love, you know, and everything like that. All those things that, you know, used to excite you are the same things that would now begin to annoy you in marriage. So what do? Will you say because your husband is annoying you every day, or your wife is annoying you, you're going to pack out and leave? Or will you ask for a divorce? Look, I can't deal again. I'm tired of this marriage. I'm done. I'm tired, you know, because that's the way we humans most of the time always do. You know what? I'm done. I'm tired. But trust me, this thing's very true. Trust me, I agree. It looks simple, yeah, dumping your clothes on the floor, but it's not that simple, especially when it continues. I've been telling you, please, can you just carry your clothes and put in the laundry basket? But you know, sometimes after a while, for the sake of peace, when you see the big picture of my home is peace. Look, I'm not going to allow this clothes to cause problem. Over time, he will get it. Let's just help him. We'll pack the clothes. As you're packing, you can still be explaining. She is saying, babe, can you just try? Please, can you, you know, you have to keep saying it. And you have to keep saying it with a lot of patience, because you cannot get tired, and you know that this is forever. It's for life. You know, I did a study, and it was very important. And they said that one of the things that causes major divorce in marriages is not infidelity. It's not sexual immorality. It's communication. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I saw it, and I'm like, are you serious? So communication is one of the issues that causes problems in marriage. And then I realized that communication actually is like the bedrock of everything, not just in marriage, at work, with your children, with friends. Communication is very, very key. And I'm so excited about the person that's going to be talking to us today, because, you know, she's somebody who has gone through this process. It's not someone just going to go and preach to us. She has gone through some struggles in her early years of marriage. She will tell us the challenges. She will tell us how she handled it and how we can avoid it. And please don't forget, issues will occur in marriage. If anybody tells you that the moment you get married, everything is just going to be all rosy, they lied. They lied. There are issues daily, steady issues. And I'm going to tell you some other things that cause struggles in marriage. So another one is values and beliefs. So for example, you have different ideas about things, you have different values or beliefs. Maybe for example, in raising children, right? You know, your husband believes your children should go to boarding house, and you say no, my children don't go to boarding house. That's already a problem. So your value and belief system can already be a problem. Another thing that can cause issues is your background. For example, the kind of home you're from, the kind of marriage that your parents mentored in front of you can affect your ideology about marriage. So for example, someone comes from a broken home, you're from a background that was really bad, your parents were always fighting, there were issues, and the man is from a very peaceful, family and all that, and then is that wonder that why she always angry? Why she always reacting like this? Babe, choose love, choose joy. And you're like, anything, please. I'm not going to allow the way they treated my mother to repeat itself. I'm not going to take that rubbish from any man. You are ready to give it. So your background affects the way you relate in marriage with your spouse. Sometimes you don't even know that some of these things, things are like seeds. You don't even know that you have those characters in you until you step into marriage. And you're like, I didn't even know that I was like this. Yes, because of what you saw. So these things are struggles. They're issues that cause problems in marriage. Other things is finance. Sex is another thing that causes problem in marriage. Assumptions, bad habits. I already explained some of that before. So there's some bad habits, and then it causes issues in marriage. So there are a lot of struggles in marriage. There are struggles, but like I said, these struggles are supposed to help you know each other better. They're supposed to help you bring future peace. Like, okay, now I understand that my husband doesn't like to be spoken to in this particular way. I understand that my wife doesn't like to be spoken to in this particular way. So you understand that all these things are issues, but I'm not going to dwell so much on that because our speaker is going to do all of that, and Pastor Bisi is already online, right? So I'm going to be introducing her shortly. So Pastor Bisi, if you're here, kindly send me a request so that we can hit right at it, okay? Yeah, so I can bring her in. So if Pastor Bisi send me a request, and then we can start, okay? So that's just like a cap of everything that we're going to be today. There are struggles in marriage, there are issues in marriage, but these issues are not supposed to destroy the home. These issues are not supposed to bring about divorce or separation. They're supposed to help you to work together so that, things will become better and all that. So now we're going to be, I'm waiting for Pastor Bisi to come up, but while I wait for Pastor Bisi to come up, I'm going to just read out her profile. So Olabisi Folarin is a minister and teacher of God's work, a Christian counselor of almost 2 decades, and a certified relationship and marriage coach whose passion is to help singles make informed decisions and choices about the institution of marriage, and also help the married build, model, and inspire messages via time-tested, faith-based principles. She is also a certified professional counselor with specialization in abuse. Okay, so Possibility said I should send her a request from my side. Let me do that. Okay, I've seen it now. She has given counselor with specialization in abuse, trauma, and addiction recovery. She is the co-pastor of the Equipping Church and the president of Pillars International Ministry, a ministry dedicated to building and raising spirit-filled women to affect their various spheres of influence. Welcome, Pastor Bisi! Yay! I'm so excited. Yeah, welcome. Good evening, ma.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, ma. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We're so happy to have you. So before you came online, I was trying to do a little introduction and background. I don't know if you heard it. I was trying to do a background about the thing. Great that every marriage has issues and struggles, right? And then, it's not supposed to destroy the home, because everybody, we haven't been married before. I haven't been married before. I'm living with someone for the first time in my life. There are going to be issues. He's living with me for the first time in my life. There'll be issues. A good example is when I was pregnant. We had plenty issues. He didn't understand how to handle the change. I was expecting so much from him, and I think he has another thing, the expectation. So there were issues like, why can't he just treat me better? And he was like, why can't you just gather strength? What is all this? So there are different phases in a home that causes problems, right? But like I said, it's not supposed to destroy that marriage. It's supposed to help us become better and all that stuff. So I'm going to now start with you, Ma. So the first thing is, I'll just like to introduce yourself in 1 minute so everybody can see and know that Pastor Peace is around. So in 10 seconds, please just introduce yourself to us. I've done that, but let me allow you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. I guess if you have already introduced me, my name is Olabisi Folari. I'm a certified marriage and relationship coach. And basically, I'm that.
Great.
I'm married, have 3 kids.
Great. Okay, Ma. So I already told them that the person coming is someone who has gone through this process of struggle. It's not like you're coming to read a book. You're coming to tell us real life. So before you tell us how you overcame, I want you to first tell us some of the struggles you had in the early years of your marriage. Just the struggles, yes. We're not talking about how to overcome it. Just the struggles. So over to you, man.
Okay. First off, the struggles we had, I would say, like you've always said, whatever the issues are, if you handle them properly, they're supposed to make you guys come back stronger if it's well handled. Okay, so for me, a few of the struggles I had to jot down so I don't forget. Discovering that all I had learned, I taught before I got married. I mean, I'd read, I prepared. I prepared more for my marriage than my wedding. So my wedding, I was just discussing with my husband before I came up. It was more or less like, I don't know what I told me I wasn't a part of that wedding because all I did in that 24 hours before my wedding was, you know what? You see, just endure. After 24 hours, everybody will carry their wallet. Because as far as I was concerned, the whole ceremony, I'm not a ceremony person. So I barely lived through that 24 hours. You know what? It's just a empowerment. I was more prepared for the marriage than the wedding. Okay? I wasn't even really so much into that wedding. In fact, it was like my mom was the one that married me. I didn't even have any input in that wedding. As far as I was concerned, it was a formality. Because I had, prepared quite a bit ahead. I'd gone to a marriage school. I'd read books. I'd met other people like Pastor Bimbo. I followed people like James Dobson. I even got to teach in a marriage school, and I'd been teaching even before getting married. That's amazing because it was more of a call for me. All right, beyond preparing myself, it was a call for me in that area. So I was quite prepared. But the root shock, first of all, was that there was a difference between all I had known and even taught and practicing it in real life. There was a complete difference. So you have head knowledge, but when it came to translating the head knowledge to action, I had issues there because my husband will tell you, this is not a yes woman. I'm not your. When I say yes woman, picture that coming to America and saying, okay, back like a dog. I'm not. I am strong-willed. I'm a woman of my own, and all of that. So that really came into play. I thought I'd learned everything about submission and all of that. When the test for submission was being given to me, I was flunking it big time. And all the while I knew I was failing that test of submission because in my head was the right response and the right answers, but in my action I was doing completely something different because my flesh kept getting there. I was like, what? Somebody cannot just be riding me. What kind of stories, all this? And so sometimes I'll be hearing Pastor Bimbo's lectures in my head, and this is the right response to what your husband has done. But just like keep no share gun, no, must we always be keeping quiet? So that struggle was there. So that was one for me, and it took a while because of the kind of husband I married. It took a while, but I eventually got it because he was patient with me. Now, for example, if I wanted to communicate my displeasure to him, he kept on telling me, he would speak in Yoruba. He would say, "Bisi pelela ko pelela," but that means there's a way to apologize, and I will actually feel you're sorry. And there's a way not to apologize. I feel honestly you are not sorry. Look, he repeated that lesson for the first 3 years of my marriage before he finally sank. Because when I began to read from people like James Dobson, he will tell you whatever your spouse's complaint is your own assignment. That thing that they keep hammering on is the area you should take as an area of improvement. Okay, so for me, submission was an issue until I finally got that. You know what? This man is not here to subjugate you. He's a God man. He's a good man. He loves the Lord, and all he's just asking that if you're going to communicate your displeasure to me, can you mind the way you go about it? Because like you were saying, background matters a lot. when my husband comes from a family of deeper life members, I know those people are very gentle, well behaved, and all of that. They're not used to rampant. If you enter my family, my husband's family house, they are all gentle. This is my 13th year in marriage. I've not had issues with them. They are the most gentle and sweetest person you can deal with. But me, I'm used to go give them. I don't like it. I give it to you, and I move on. I'm not dwelling on it, but I must give it to you. And move on. So he kept on saying, "Your shouting is disconcerting me. I can't get past this. So whatever you're saying is not even reaching me. I feel disrespected by the way you're speaking to me." I'm like, you did something wrong, and I'm telling you, and you're now wanting to push the ball back. Until I learned that lesson, I wasn't teaching
I'm on this table.
Okay. So in learning it, I had to watch the tone of my voice, my body language, and my timing. Okay, so when I began to do that, I saw that communication got better. Yeah, so that's one of it. Yeah, you want to ask a question?
Okay, great. All right, so my next question is that, so, you know, like what you said, taking it from what you said that you had prepared, right? But when you got into the actual marriage thing, that it looked like you were failing from everything, all the knowledge that you knew. So should we say that it's not your preparation that matters, but your actual ability to pass the test? So are we downplaying the place of preparation and
not at all.
Okay, great.
Not at all. Your preparation matters a lot. This is what the preparation did for me. It's like you want to write an exam. What qualifies you to write the exam is that you have attended classes and you have the knowledge of that exam. Do you understand? Now, what can make you fail that exam is either you're not serious or you did not understand the subject matter. Okay? But what will even qualify you to feel comfortable to enter the exam or is that, oh, okay, I've gone through this course now, I should be able to write something. So what was happening at those times was that I kept remembering everything I'd been taught. And so over time, it was a battle of my flesh submitting to my spirit. Do you understand? And so what helped was that I knew this is the answer to this challenge. You know your problem is flesh. You are aligned flesh. Let flesh die. So you can't even downplay the place of preparation. It is now a case of choice. You deciding to make use of what you have learned. Do you understand? You can't downplay. So that knowledge was there. It keeps popping up. There are things I heard some of my mentors say like, this is the response to this. But if there was no deposit of preparation, there is nothing. There's no backdrop to even draw from. You understand? I chose at the beginning not to because I was feeling stubborn, and that is flesh. Simple. There's no place for flesh in marriage until I allowed my flesh to be subdued to my spirit. That lesson didn't translate to action. So that was
it. For flesh in marriage. Okay, good. So I'm going to take you on that, ma. So, okay, so a question here says that, was there a denomination struggle in your marriage? Since you mentioned that your husband's family was deeper life, and then how did you manage it? Was there a denomination struggle? Someone's asking.
Not at all. My husband was irritated in their family because he had even broken up from he had broken up from deeper life a long time ago, maybe like he was 17. So I even came into their family and I was the wife that was always wearing trousers. Of course, the dad and mom didn't find it funny at first, but I put my foot down because as far as I'm concerned, you saw me, you like me with my trousers, and then we presented a united front, both with his parents and women. Even my mom is still a deacon in Redeem. So she had an issue. I wasn't wearing trousers up to my final year. Then there was like she called my husband and said, you know what? Before my daughter met you, she was not wearing trousers. It's like it's when she met you, she started saying, mommy, trousers, you know, so my mommy, our parents gave up on us a long time ago because we were always presenting a united front. So background wasn't an issue. Okay. When I mentioned the deeper life, it's about, the innate values they had, been raised with. So denomination wasn't a problem.
No problem. Okay, Margaret. So let's move on. Okay, ma. So now I'm taking on that thing that you knew the right things. You had the head knowledge for how to handle issues, but the problem was flesh. And trust me, I think this is the issue that every one of us have. A lot of people, let me put it that way, because you know what to do. I mean, you've learned about. Nobody goes into marriage because they want to cause problem or they want to set. How do we deal with this flesh issue? Gone. That's my next question. How do we work on this flesh? How did you work on flesh? Maybe I should ask, how did you handle this flesh issue?
what's the scripture about? You don't give place. What's it called? Must I remind you of? You don't give place to the. You have to keep dying daily. That's the truth. If you're a Christian, especially, I'm speaking to people of faith. There are no two ways about it. Your spirit has to always be on top, while your flesh is on, or else you will self-destruct. So it's always about going to God and asking for help. If you are willing to say, I want this to work, Holy Spirit, help me, and you are willing to make the effort, because Holy Spirit help me doesn't mean the Holy Spirit come and carry your hand, or your voice or your mouth to do or say the right things. So one of the issues I had problem with was apologizing. I personally didn't really know how to apologize, because I always felt a lot of times I was the right person. Yeah. And that's why it's good to marry somebody who is also submitted to the authority of the Lord. So the hierarchy is God, man, and woman. The man is submitted to God, and you are submitted to the man. It's easy to submit to a man who is submitted to God. Do you understand? Once there is a break in that hierarchy, once there's a disconnect, especially between the man and God, then it's difficult to submit to him, because he's probably not loving you the right way with the help of God. Now, what my husband did for me was to teach me how to apologize by being the example. So I'm apparently the wrong party. I'm the one that is a bit, heady. My husband will most times come back and apologize. And the first time I saw that trait in him was far back in school, even before he asked me. We're just friends. And I'd been ill for a while. He didn't come see me. And when I was well, I went back and he was like, this is good. I'm like, in my usual good go say, I'm like, what? That's how you use your friendship. There was nothing between us there. No. And my husband went down on his 2 knees and began to apologize. And I was so embarrassed. This guy is an esco. I said, you know what? You never reach like that. Stand up, stand up. See, my husband is a humble person at heart. And that trait is still there in marriage. So my husband sort of used the reverse technology to get me to learn how to apologize. Things will go on. I'm like, okay, you know what, Bisi? I'm sorry. You understand? He did it so much that I got guilty. I felt guilty that, you know what, Bisi, you are the wrong party here. This guy cannot be apologizing all the time. So what jump started me also trying to apologize, because I want this marriage to work. The fact that this guy is gentle, he's a God man, he's a good man. Bisi, there was a place of you not taking this man for granted. All this your anger, deal with it. Okay? You can't always be the one apologizing. And even up till now, those were the days my husband is a pastor. He's going for administration, and we had a little bit of understanding. My husband will not move out of that house until he has seen that, you know what, we need to sort this out. He said, I'm not going to enjoy this administration, and I want these people to be blessed. And we pray. And he keeps telling that each time things like that happen, and we pray, I pray with him, bless him from my heart. That is, the administration is always different. You understand? So my husband understood more. That's why it's good to marry somebody too who is, spiritually ahead of you. He knew all those things was flesh battling with me, and his own way of abandoning it was to love me like Christ loved the church. So you can love a stubborn and unsubmissive woman, to become submissive.
Wow.
By just doing your own part. Your part is to love her. God did not say love her when she's gentle or love her. Just love her. That's the commandment. So that's what my husband, did for me. And by doing that, nobody taught me. I started judging myself that only jump on there, you're the troublemaker in this marriage. You learn how to apologize. And so for me, it's easier now. I can even kneel down, especially when I want to go the extra mile. I'll just say, sweetheart. That was not the busy the first 2 years of marriage. I'm not waiting now. But I've changed.
Okay, thank you, Ma, for that. So, now I think the next question I should ask is based on expectations. Most of the time we all come into marriage with an expectation. You expect that your husband is going to be the Mr. World. You expect that your wife is going to be Mr. World based on how your relationship when you were courting was. So you come with so much expectation, and then when you enter marriage and you see that everything I said, this guy is not meeting up, or this woman is not meeting up, I think that also affects. So how do we deal with expectation? How do you ensure that you don't have so many expectations, or is it possible for you not to even have expectations for entering into marriage, and then when you see that your expectations are not being met, what do you do? Because I think it causes frustration.
Okay, yeah, it does cause frustration, expectation. But one of the things I want to address the singles that might be on this stream is, the kind of man you are saying yes to. If it's not a par with the expectation, you are asking for a little too much. I didn't expect anything less from my husband, and I won't say I didn't really enter with any big expectation like that, other than the fact that I was sure that this guy is a good guy. he's a God man. He's submitted under God. Once a man is submitted under God, the remaining one is small, really, because God will always call him to order, and his spirit man will always call him to order. So, you know, for me, I married that kind of person. So my expectations, they have not been, how do I say, have not been shortchanged in that area. Instead, I think my husband has just gotten better than the person, because he tries getting better, you know, every time. So you think you married somebody who is a clubber, a party person, and then in marriage you suddenly want him not to party, not to club, you must be Baba Jesus. Are you a serious person? Changes can occur, yes. He can decide of his own volition. He encounters God, gets deeper and begin. So, but for you to expect that magical change like that, it's going to be a process, if at all you achieve that. So expectations should be realistic. Don't expect 100% from a person who probably was at no, percentage is not a good whatever. But don't expect something more than the profile of the kind of man you married. I don't know how to put that better. So for me, the only things were maybe differences in background or upbringing, like I said, that began to, you know, show up from time to time. But my expectations after marrying a man that loves God, not just they were met completely, and that is what stood our marriage in good stead. Because while I was busy misbehaving, he was busy being the God man and the man that is submitted to God that he ought to be. So by just staying on his own pedestal, he was, you know, I was able to learn and readjust as well. Okay, so he didn't fall short of expectation. So your expectations, make sure they are realistic. You can't be expecting how do I say? You can't pick food from a trash can and not expect to eat dirt. That's the analogy I'm going to draw. Okay. You can't pick food from a dustbin and not expect to eat dirt. So your expectation should be at par with how you go about it. I don't know if that's making sense.
It does. Perfect sense. Perfect sense. Perfect sense. So maybe I should ask, Ma, is it because some people, I have some friends who say that, you know, I'm seeing too many issues with marriage. I'm not sure I want to marry like this, blah, 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 and all that stuff. So I want to ask, is it possible that someone can get married without issues? Is it possible that there can be a marriage without struggle?
I would like you to define that struggle.
So, like, I mean, struggle like issues, you know, different issues that come up in marriage.
There is no perfect marriage anywhere. Even if both of you like this, you saw Jesus or you saw God, which nobody has seen. Oh yeah, busy take. Muyoa is your husband. Even that the Gio and Mommy Gio, if they are not intentional and deliberate about working the marriage out, it will not work. So that there are going to be issues is a no-brainer. How do I say it? Expect it from ranging from mild to medium to high. Issues are the problem are not issues arising in marriage, but how they are handled when they arise. Because you can handle it, and then even as bad as infidelity in marriages, couples find themselves one party is in infidelity, and they are able to go through an infidelity recovery and bounce back stronger. There are couples, you know, so the issue is not that something is good, that there are going to be issues of disagreement. There are no perfect people who come from different backgrounds. We are shaped by different worldviews, the way we are raised. Do you understand? And those were some of the main things for us. Those were the main things that cause issues, maybe background, okay? And the way, but we adjusted. It has even now. Some of the things my husband will never think he can do that I used to ask him to do well with because of the way he was raised. Right now he does it, and sometimes we want to beg him, okay, so now don't even do it again. Thank you. That's you ride on challenges to become stronger.
Very true. Very true. So what I can take from it, they say marriage is intentional. That means that marriage is hard work. You know, all those social, you know, I think sometimes we all get confused about, you know, when you see on social media, couples are always putting a lot of amazing pictures. He's the this, she's the that. Ever since I met you, my life has been this. There's no one. So some people get confused, like, that means people, they don't have fight. So their marriage must be so perfect and all that. So they feel like everything about that marriage is 100%. But from what you're saying, you have to work at it. It's not something that's just going to jump on you. You have to work at it. So you have to be intentional, irrespective of the issues. Good, Ma. I'm noting that. So somebody has a question here. How do you handle differences in courtship and marriage life? I'm trying to see if I understand the question well. So maybe the way the person was acting when you guys were cutting is different from how the person acts. And let me give a very good example. So, like when my husband, like I was keep saying that I'm married for like 2 seconds. I don't even really know these things, but I'm still on the journey. So when my husband were cutting, then he used to take me to see movie every week. As in, he used to spoil me with gifts every time he's coming to visit me. He's coming with a gift. Like he doesn't ever come and visit me without a gift. So he was always everything. I was like, woo, this is love, amazing. And then when we got married, I'm like, we're not going to the movies. They said, no, babe, we're married now. We need to plan our home. We need to now begin to have financial management. We need to structure things. We need to have everything. Wonderful. So, you know, the every week now we do, okay, let's do it monthly, let's do it two months, you know, everything kind of changed, like, because, you know, the euphoria then. So how do you manage? I'm just trying to buttress on that question. How do you manage differences that arise from when you were cutting and it looked like everything was just spoke, span, no issue, everything was just cemented with so much love, and then in marriage it looks like there's a change. So how do you handle the change then?
First off, I will say you need to understand that when a man wants something, he goes for it with all his spirit, body, soul, and might. Okay, so that is quite expected. You know, men could be hunters, okay? Men could be hunters, but you can decide to be the hunter that doesn't get your prey and then kill it, all right? You can be the hunter that gets the prey and then nurtures it and prepares it. But let me leave that as an aside. Coming into marriage, it doesn't really have to stop, but understand that the first few months, years, for some marriages, it doesn't really start off on a smooth note like that. Probably trying to get your acts together, but it has to still be at the back of you guys' mind that the things that used to, in fact, it was one of the ways to revive marriages. When marriages are going to 5, 6 years and you're beginning to feel like this marriage has plateaued, it's not moving forward, it's not moving back. But one of the things you can do is to reignite those things that used to make you guys giggle like kids, just love up on each other while you were cutting. So it's still being, we're still talking about being intentional and deliberate. You have to recreate those things. No matter how busy or challenging you get, going to the movie is not going to destroy your finance once every quarter. It can be planned. Right. You understand? So it's still part of being intentional. And then that's why some of these things should be discussed before marriage. There's some of the things that you need to sit down and like, okay, what are our plans for recreation, for vacation? Those things have to be in black and white. Listen, family values, you have to have family values and family vision. 90% of Nigerian families cannot produce a family vision statement. Talk less of values. What is dear to them? Do you understand? So that is the major problem. There is what is not documented it does not exist. It does not exist. So it's not too late. You can stand up, okay, no, babe, moving forward. Moving forward. I need us to incorporate some of these things. Like at some point, well over 10, 8 years, I had to tell my husband that, you know what, I didn't grow up this way. The way I grew up, Easter, Christmas was big deal to my parents. They will make sure, my dad will make sure my mom has gotten money to go to April from October for December Christmas. So when I got married, and it just looked like that one was not a biggie to my husband. For everyone said, you didn't grow up in that kind of family, Christmas plus cake, you don't get it. But I had to, like, you know what, it's important to me. So we have to deliberately and intentionally make sure we find time to take our kids out, no matter how busy we get, celebrate their birthdays. They didn't do that in where he was coming from. But that was big for me. And I felt it was something we could emulate so that our children don't lose out of their childhood. Look, the kind of cartoons we used to watch that were educative, you know, the songs. Right now, I'm just wondering, I feel something like this generation of kids are missing so much. There is a gap. So you don't want them to lose those memories. We had beautiful memories. So all these things is intentionality. And intentionality not just what we say, it's no, what is not documented does not exist. Write it down so that you guys keep seeing it. Write the vision, make it plain so that he or she that sees it will run with it. That's how intentional and deliberate we have to be about this marriage. Right to the nitty gritty. How do you want to do finances? In-laws. Is anybody allowed to come for Umugo? These things should be documented. When there's no documentation, so nobody can even say, but sweetheart, we discussed this thing. You can't hold him to anything. It's just mere words of mouth. So it can fizzle out as well.
Right.
So that gap can be bridged.
Right. So we should have like written plans. This is what we are going to do in our marriage. This is what we are going to take. But sometimes I feel like, some of the things you write, right? Taking you on that. If I write some things that me and my husband will discuss before marriage, some of them can change when you get married. Some of them can change when you get married. So does that change anything? Like maybe based on the circumstances, some things will change. You have to deviate from the initial plan that you had or that you had written down. So is that bad?
Okay, let me come this way. Every family or every couple should have what's it called again? A vision statement for their family. Do you understand? Okay. What is that thing that is bringing you guys together? And that's one of the things that can hold a marriage together. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't think I have all the time on this video to be able to explain that. There must be something bigger than she's beautiful. There must be something bigger than sex or even children that should be holding a couple together. Because are you telling me that paraventure, God forbid, you can't give back to children, this marriage is over? There has to be something bigger than both of you that is dear to you, that is cementing you both together, and it's going to come from a mixture of your own personal vision and his own personal vision. There has to be a central meeting point. That's why Jess was saying, making the help that is adaptable. So you and your husband have to be a lock and key combination. In the middle of your vision and in the middle of the vision, his vision, there's a meeting point somewhere. You guys have to find it and come up with a unified vision statement for your home. So a vision can never change because you guys are going to sit down with God.
Yeah.
A vision can never change, but it can be, how do I say, enlarged or modified as time goes on. You begin to see the bigger picture of that vision. Do you understand? How each step you're supposed to take to the bigger picture. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Then in that vision statement, you have to come up with values, things that are important to you. Family time is important to us. Recreation is important to us. Those things should be, how do I say this sacrosanct I want to use? They should be binding on both of you.
Right.
Because when a couple is serious, it shouldn't be that, okay, I love her. What if my husband wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't feel any love for you anymore? Or you know what, there's something bigger. Like what Pastor Muyiwa do, our vision before we got married was to be role models to, marriages. But right now, that vision has even expanded. You understand? We can see it clearer now. We didn't just wake up tomorrow and say, I want to up and leave this marriage. So it's beyond, that this I don't feel like I love Pastor Muyiwa, there might be, this doesn't feel like, but there is something binding us that is bigger, that is beyond us. Yeah. Do you understand? That we know that when we get to heaven, God is still going to ask us, hello, the purpose I brought you guys together, what do you guys do with it? Because some people will not get children, they might not. So should we not get separated because they don't have children? Or when your children leave the house, so our life comes to an end. There has to be something bigger.
I love what you just said, because now I'm thinking about it. So if your husband loses his job or your wife loses her job, or like you said, some people cannot have children, will you now say that the marriage is over? So it's not about the physical things, not about the material things, not about what you can get. There's something big that must hold you. There's like a big picture for your marriage. Wow, that one is big. Thank you, ma'am. I mean, I'm holding that very, very, very big. Let's do a big picture for the marriage. If you have questions, please, you can drop it. You can drop it, right? So, another thing is, sometimes, like now, nobody goes into a marriage with the mindset of divorcing their spouse. Nobody says, I'm marrying you in 2 years' time, I'm going to separate from you, right? But issues come up. And one of the studies I saw, they said that it takes a person about 2 years to process divorce before they actually divorce that person. So they have been, wake up and say, today I'm divorcing. Like, it has been ongoing. You've been processing that thing for a while. So now I feel like we should talk about this trigger. So when do you think couples should start being cautious? Like, this thing is getting out of hand. Like, at what point should they start being cautious about the struggles they're having, and what should they do about it so that it does not lead to what we are not hoping for? Because like we said, these struggles are not supposed to lead to a divorce, supposed to help us get better. So at what point should red flags start popping up?
The minute you begin to feel an emotional disconnect from your spouse, that's where it starts from. So couples are living together, but one party is emotionally disconnected already. If it's a woman, she's just properly probably enjoying. I say, let's be looking at it as in, when I can't take it anymore. And that's why it shouldn't get to the point of I can't take it anymore. All right. So it starts with an emotional disconnect. Some couples are just barely living together. They have stopped being married, but it's just that they are just, under the same roof. And what can be done? Please, Your spouse is not the Holy Ghost. Your spouse is not the Holy Ghost. You need to communicate. Listen to me. Communication is the engine that holds any marriage together. Communication is the engine that holds any marriage together. Just like an engine is to a car, that's how communication is to a marriage. So you take off the engine from a car, we all know that car is practically useless. And that's why we don't guard against our engines knocking. Because when that engine knocks, it is wahala. It will take a lot to restore it, and then it has to be restored for the car to move. So the same thing. You guys are not communicating, that marriage is going nowhere. All right, so the minute you begin to feel an emotional disconnect, it's not time to be angry and just be bottling up. No, communicate. And then the issue a lot of women have with communicating is they don't respect the elements of communication. Now, for the average man, the way you talk to him is all about respect. If he just feels tuned up by your way and manner, number one, there's a block in his mind. So you're talking, he's just looking at you. What is all? When you finish talking, we hear, and you do what I want to do.
I totally connect.
But the way to bring down the average man is to come to him communicating with respect. Trust me, if he's a reasonable man, an average reasonable woman, you're likely to get across to him. He might do as if what you said is not edging his head, but he will go back. You have sown that seed in his heart. He will go back and you've given him matter to think about. He will ruminate over it and over it. And like I said, marry a man who is submitted to the authority of God. God will minister to him. And he will come back and say, okay, this thing that you're talking about, babes, let's look at it this way. So in communicating, you want to watch out for the timing. There's a time to communicate with your spouse and there's a time not to. You know your spouse, but you know what time, is at the school, you're likely to get across to him. And when communicating, there is a body language. You can't be saying, I love you, and hello, the words of your mouth, the fruits of your lips are not in consonance with your body language. And sometimes our body language speaks louder than our words.
Very true.
You know that?
Very true.
Even on the phone, communicating with people, you can pick their body language, you can pick the vibes. So timing, tone of voice, and body language, they're all important elements of communication. So the minute you begin to feel an emotional disconnect, it's time to start talking. Okay? It's time to start. That's what my husband tell me. It's not like I don't have a problem with you talking, but the how is what matters to me. Like I said, for the first 3 years, he kept on preaching that I'm busy. A soft answer turns the way rough. And you speak in Yoruba again, but which means that thing he was hammering on 3 years was what he had an issue with, how I was talking to him. And remember, I said we're all a product of our background. In their house, they don't shout. If you leave my father-in-law in a particular place, that's why you meet him in the next 48 hours, and they're that gentle. So that's how he was raised. So it's not usually a woman who's as he just say blah. He just needed me to pedal a bit. Come to me in gentility. I'll probably answer. I said, you see, I can give you my head, and that's the truth. If I can give you my head, I just need you a soft answer doesn't mirror. So just come to me softly. You probably I will listen. But you see, the minute you come, it's a turn for me as there's a blockage. So emotionally, when you start disconnecting, it's time to start talking. Don't ever let your heart fester. And probably why people meet them is not listening. He probably is not listening because you're not communicating right, or she's not listening because you're not communicating right.
Right. Okay, very good, ma'am. Because you know what you said, the table I'm on. You know what? Sometimes because of my nature and all that, and my husband is very. So I'm telling him like, I can't hear you. You're shouting. I'm like, I'm not shouting. I'm trying to make you understand what I'm saying. And at that point, I'm struggling to bring it down because it's hot in my body. I'm like, he's like, just bring it down. I can't hear you. I'm like, what do you mean by you can't hear me? So, I want to understand how do you manage your personality type in marriage? Because that is
fantastic.
Another thing that causes issues. Because, for example, now, like I think like maybe we have some few similar traits. My husband is very chilled. Me, I'm a very vocal person. So when I'm saying, I'm not insulting you. I'm just trying to explain. Am I abusing you? Can I abuse in my mouth? I'm not trying to abuse him. I'm just trying to explain my point. And he's like, yeah, I'm like, what have I said? How am I insulting? I'm not disrespecting you. I just want you to understand what I'm saying. So how do you manage your personality type in marriage?
So that's so important. I don't know why in this day and age anybody will get married and they don't know the temperament of each other. It's a sine qua non. Temperament and love languages, they work hand in hand. And as simple as those things sound, I said it doesn't sound spiritual, but they are one of the things when I see them in couples, it's one of the underlining things that are causing the major one they are bringing to you. So they come to you representing issue. But by the time you begin to dissect it for them, you know there is a temperament playing out somewhere, there's a love language playing. So those two things are very key. You need to find out what your love language is, and you need to find out what your temperament is. Now, for somebody like me, I'm a male flag. And as a man, I can be alone now. I enjoy my own company. Then. See, I can be by myself, especially in this lockdown. For 6-7 months, sometimes I was scared as a busy. I didn't know how human being. So while growing up, I didn't know that was it. My mom used to say, "That's like you are an abiku," because I would be in the room by myself in a dark room for that matter. Just ask me what I was doing. Now I can't remember. I'm just thinking. I'm a deep thinker. That's how melancholics are. My mom will get so annoyed. You will not eat when everybody's eating. You're not in your room. My mom was not informed, so she didn't know it was a temperament thing. Even if I didn't know, I don't know. I don't have any mommy water that used to come and visit me. Now what's this much from? I'm just by myself. So in mind, it plays out too. There are things I call destiny plans. So there are seasons I'm in ministry that I feel I want to birth something, a new phase of my life, maybe a book or something. Those times require me just be by myself, thinking, praying through things. And because I have a spouse that understands me, it wasn't always like that before, but he has come to understand. So he allows me, he gives me my space without taking offense. And in those times, there are times I just laugh out on everybody. For goodness sake, he's the man of the house. You just say, "This is your mommy, leave her out, she has entered that mode again." He has carried the student, they've gone to spin up something and they're eating. Probably because I'm joining them late from my study. You know, it takes an understanding man to do that for you, to cover up. Okay? And then in those seasons too, there are seasons where I'm just withdrawn. Oh, we have me too. I'm withdrawn. Even me, I know that I'm withdrawn. Do my husband sometimes practically have to come and bring that back. He said, "I'm not feeling you." Somebody, but we're talking now, you're asking me a question, I'm answering you. He said, "You know what I'm talking about. There is a disconnect here." And then, you know, he had to point that there's a disconnect. Well, answer now. You asked me some answering you. He said, "No, you know that playful part. What's going on?" And then it was then I had to realize that, oh, okay, it's my temperament right now. I'm battling with something internet, but it took somebody who understood my temperament. So temperaments are so important. If he didn't understand that, it's a biggie for him. I said, what nonsense? When we eat in this house, one thing. And I also have to draw a balance that it cannot always be all the time. So sometimes I see myself drifting up 4 or 5 hours. I have to make a mental note that, no, my kids are there, my husband is there. I don't take this man for granted. Guess what? He will go ahead and sort it out, cover up. But I don't have to always take that for granted. So that's how temperaments play into this. And love languages too are big. It was one of the issues I had in my marriage in the early years. So I had BP-induced, pregnancy-induced BP, for my first and second pregnancy. So by the time I was done giving birth, they had to put me on BP drugs back then. All right, they had to put me on BP drugs. And there was this day, you know, I just told my husband, my love language is acts of service. You just have to help me. I keep saying this example. You think I'm joking? My husband likes to buy range for me. I appreciate the range of body. Everyday living that gives me mental well-being, that helps my mental health, is that I'm being helped. So the man might be one day, after I bought you 22 million Jeep, you're still here complaining, "Uncle, thank you." But you see, what matters to my internal homeostasis, as they say, is for me to be helped. I don't want to be overwhelmed in this house. Mentally, that's what's going to give me stability. That's what's important to me, beyond the Jeep. Okay, so that particular day, and that's what my husband wasn't helping. Those were the days I would say, "Can you help me do this?" Like, what? Am I your husband in this house? Or am I your junior brother? You know, these are the early days of marriage. And I'm like, okay, so I was skeptical about asking him to help that day, but I had a tear that was still healing. My BP was still there, but I was scared to talk to him. So I just generally carried my slippers and I was going towards a pharmacy that was close to us. And as I was going, I just got annoyed. And I began to weep then on the road that I was walking in my nightgown. I can't forget with my wrapper, but I was just going. I was annoyed. I was like, I don't have to be doing this. I have a husband in this house. And I was really mad. I was like, what nonsense? What if I slump and die now? You gotta marry another woman, one rubbish. You know the thoughts I was playing in my mind. They did not happen too. So somehow when I was entering the house, my mom was around for a moment there. She saw that I was crying and like, what happened? And I said, why is my husband not helping me? What? He said, no, tell him. He probably doesn't even know. That's why I said, your husband is not the Holy Ghost. So I had that discussion with him that, look at, I forgotten. I didn't have to like, but you didn't even tell me I was in this house. He said, I will tell you. The next thing you tell me is, am I your houseboy? Am I your son? But ever since we had that discussion, because my husband is a good man. He's not an evil man. He's a God man. Look, nobody begged him. From that day, that man they turned. Because for heaven's sake, He needs his wife alive and well, not looking haggard,
Yeah.
for him to enjoy that marriage. He needs me alive to take care of the children. He needs me alive to help, both of us fulfill the vision God has given to us.
Yeah.
So he began to help out,
Yeah.
and then from that, it's not an issue. So even now, before I came for this, whatever, my husband has been saying, I want to eat croaker fish. I want to eat croaker fish. He went ahead to order for the croaker fish. Me, I told you I wasn't feeling fine. So cooking any croaker fish was not in the picture this morning. So, and I had to prepare for this. The next thing I saw, of course, there's tomato in the fridge. My husband said, you see, what quantity of tomatoes and pepper? And my mom looking at him, this one also got this one. I said, baby, I was trying looking at him, what quantity of pepper will be enough? I said, this one should be enough, 1 pack of tomatoes and then pepper. Like, why don't you wait till the live stream is over? I guess I'll have energy by then, I'll do it. And so my husband, if I didn't say anything, you go ahead and you cook it. And guess what? I will gently eat out of that food, and there's no problem. Do you get? That's my husband learning that my love language is acts of service. He knows I'm ill. Happy is the stronger party, and he feels he can do it. You see, those things are priceless to me. That's the way he can minister love to me. I understand. Any other thing is an agenda. It's secondary. That's my primary love language. You get? So those things are important. And when it's quality time, remember that I said I, as a melancholic, I'm alone now. I don't have a problem being by myself. But that's a problem for somebody whose love language is quality time. So in my head, I have to draw a balance. If I'm saying 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, if it's something I can do, I can't be there. And I'm not playing, though. I'm doing stuff. Destiny related. You guys know me now. I'm doing stuff. Between 12 to 6, I can be by myself. So the balance for me, because his own love language is quality time, is to you have to pass at this point, or make up for it at night. Because that's how we relax after most day. We want to watch a movie together, cuddled up in bed. So it's either you're going to make it up to him at night, or you're cutting in between your schedule. So that's how these things play out. They're so important. Love language is temperament.
Wow. Thank you, Ma. So good. I mean, we're almost done here, but I'll ask one more question before we run off. So now, just so that, we've talked about a lot of practical things, right? In 1 minute or in 2 minutes, Ma, I want to talk about the God part of this, because I feel like the biggest thing and the biggest help in handling issues is the God part. And I'm happy that you're a pastor, your husband is a pastor, and all of that. So, but some of us are not pastors, and we're not married to pastors. So let us understand the importance of God's role in this in 1 minute, Ma. So let's do this as we wrap this up.
Okay, let's remove the pastor. We are all first human beings and then Christians before anybody becomes a pastor. So my husband is not behaving the way he's behaving, and I keep saying my husband is God on skin to me. That's a heavy thing to say about a human being. My husband is God on skin to me, not because he's a pastor, but because he's submitted to God and has decided to make God the Lord over his life. So he does only things that will please the Lord. Any Christian can decide to do that as well. I only want to do the things that are pleasing to the Lord. If I'm going to be hurting my wife, it's not pleasing to God. Scripture says, whosoever knows what to do and does not do it, to him it is a sin. That's the baseline definition of sin. Not even somebody killed somebody cheated. You know what you're doing in your marriage and you're not doing it. The Bible says to do it is a sin. So that does not take a pastor to act that way. Any good Christian should and want to obey the tenets that it's enwrapped in Christianity. So I think that's it. Truly saying you're submitted to God and doing his will. And if you have to ask for help, do ask for help. I've had times to ask for help, to help me with my flesh, to put my flesh under, to be able to, even back then, Lord help me, I need to be able to apologize. So these things come. You need to ask for help and you need to be submitted, to God, truly, not just in words, but in deeds. And if you're finding it difficult, take it a step further and ask the Holy Ghost for help. He's always willing to. It's called the help. So it's not about being a pastor or no pastor. There are people who are not pastors and do an excellent job too. So it's a decision to do right by God.
My God, wow. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I like the fact that this God part, because this personality issue has been a struggle, and I'm always like, God help me. God help me. Sometimes there's an issue at home. I'm like, God, no, I can't say sorry. No way. This time around, I'm not.
Okay, let me say something.
You just
say something.
Okay.
You can be help. Like the melancholic part.
From now, because we are
like the melancholic part. I used to say, I'm a spirit control. All your temperaments can be spirit control. Go and read Tim LaHaye's whatever. So I say I'm a spirit controlled melancholic now. And my husband really helped me out with that. The Holy Spirit can help your temperament. It's that simple.
Okay, I have 20 seconds more. Thank you guys so much. I mean, I think I answered all the questions on the stream, and you answered all my questions. Thank you, Pastor BC. Thank you, everybody, for joining for our